edition of Tribal Soul Sessions for the LProject on YouTube. Right here on YouTube, I am your host, DJ Tribal. And you guys know, before we get started, you guys got to hit that like button, smash the subscribe button, turn on the alert so you're notified whenever we drop a new video. Today we are in West Hollywood because I'm here to chat with my very dear friend, Alana Roshay, aka the Boundary Boss. What's up, Alana Roshay? Do you know this woman is so badass? She's so badass, I had to ask her here today. She is not only the founder of the Boundary Boss, but she's also an award-winning advocate. And she's, I'm very proud to say, a former board member with the LProject. Today, we're going to welcome Alana Roshay to the show. What's up? How are you?
Thanks for having me.
Good to be here.
I love that I get to do this with you.
I know, because I've been trying to get her for a long time. But you know, you were recently appointed as Public Safety Commissioner.
Correct.
By Councilwoman Shyne.
Correct.
Great addition to the WeHo government team.
Thank you.
And I just want to say congratulations.
Thank you.
Because that's huge. I've watched you grow.
You have.
I've watched you grow. I had to let you go. I did not want to let you go at the LProject, but I could see what a superstar she was. And I just knew that she's going to be the mayor of West Hollywood one day. I don't want to, sorry, Mayor Horvath, you know, we love you. But I would love to see her running for councilwoman, mayor, all of those
things. So
does
Councilmember Shyne.
Exactly. So we're going to keep you in that loop. Okay, so now tell us, because when I first met you, I think you were in the real estate game, right?
Yep, it's true. Yep.
And I know that's a high, stressful job. So tell me, how did you transfer from real estate, transition into running your own life coaching business? Because that's what the Boundary Boss is, right? Life coaching.
Yeah, I had a long career running of probably 10 years or so. And I think, like anything, evolution, right? As we grow, as we change, we reassess, or we should... You know, I was reassessing, and it was necessary for me to really tune in and see if the work I'm doing is actually having an impact. And though I really felt like for those 10 years, I was really offering a different type of person in an industry which tends to attract a similar personality. I felt like I was definitely doing a service by really bringing in a different energy to that world and to that game, which I think a lot of folks really appreciated.
Right.
So, you know, in the end, I grew out of it. You know, I evolved out of it. My heart was seeking something else, seeking, you know, deeper work that allowed for connecting with community more. And that's a lot of, you know, why I was drawn to the LProject LA. And also what inspired me, you know, I, through my own personal story, a lot of where the Boundary Boss came from was birthed out of my own personal journey through recovering from codependency, through love-addicted relationships.
So wait, let's break.
All of this is what created the Boundary Boss.
But to explain to people, because some people don't know what codependency is, right? Can you kind of explain for folks what that type of relationship looks like?
Yeah, codependency could look like when you are literally on the brink of exhaustion because you have continued to put everything else before yourself. That's one example of what codependency can look like, but it's usually to the detriment of yourself. It could be in relationships, it could be with your work, like workaholism could look like that. There's a codependent nature with workaholism, but you're essentially creating a certain value on what you're doing or the connection you have, and it becomes almost like you're finding value in being in a relationship with somebody, right? Like I need this relationship. This person gives me value. This person gives me worth. I am worthy because I am with this person.
So like they're not whole unless they have that.
They are not whole, exactly. They're incomplete somehow. And unfortunately, because of so many, the layers of social conditioning that exist in our world, we are inherently we are born and inherently kind of given a lot of narratives and programming that tells us that we are not valuable, like we are inherently not good. And that can go down another path in terms of like the foundation of our country and the puritanical values and all that stuff. But I think on an unconscious level, we all come into this world seeking validation and wanting to be seen, wanting to be loved. And I don't think we're taught, I mean, transgenerationally, like intergenerationally, we were not taught how to love ourselves in a healthy way.
Right.
And that is the complete opposite of codependency. Like codependency is, it becomes, it can be addictive, but it's also a behavior of how we seek love and how we seek validation in our lives. It's just, it's an unhealthy behavior.
Right, and some of us are modeling behavior that we see, relationships that we saw growing up.
Exactly, that's exactly it. Our parents, especially our grandparents' generation, you know, there's the baby boomers, but prior to the baby boomers, you know, there was a lot of binary, gender binary rules set into place by patriarchy that basically told a story of like women are in the home, right? Women take care of everyone else and themselves last. They don't say themselves last, but that's essentially what happened.
And that's what you see.
And that is 100%. And you saw it in media.
Right.
It was projected and reinforced everywhere. So it's projected and reinforced everywhere, and then you're seeing it in your home.
And then you internalize it.
As a little kid, you don't know what's from what. You just see people modeling and demonstrating.
Right.
And then you are unconsciously programming. You're being unconsciously programmed.
Right. So for us to move forward, we have to definitely deprogram. I've done.
You have to uninstall.
Right. Uninstall. Uninstall
software. Uninstall software. Upload some new content.
Right. And so, what are some of the ways that you have kind of uninstalled and unpacked a lot of the bullshit that's we're indoctrinated into this system, right? You don't know. We don't have the words. We just know that this is what it is. And so now we're here and awake.
That's right.
And we have to do the work.
That's right.
We have to do the work. So
that's the big collective calling.
Yeah. So tell us how, as a collective, we can do that. I know it starts individually. Yeah. Each of us has to do that shadow work.
Well, that's really it, though, Chris. I don't foresee people being able to actually have capacity to consider the collective and consider really working in community in an effective, healthy way without doing their personal work. Absolutely. I think a lot of nonprofits tend to have this challenge where there's a lot of leaders in nonprofits who skipped the individual, who skipped their therapy, who skipped their wounds and went into giving, went into like, how do I help others without addressing themselves? And then that gets kind of unfortunately turned into some unhealthy or harmful behaviors within these institutions. But to pull it back, to circle back, in the end, we can only go as deep with others that we've gone within ourselves.
Absolutely.
Right? So I cannot see you, Chris, in your fullness, in your complexities, in all your layers, if I couldn't see that within myself. How can I honor that in you if I was denying that in myself?
Right.
And I think that was part of also like my coming out is, I was raised Catholic, etc. So I think so much of this, like me doing my work around codependency because of what I inherited, and I had to unlearn all that and then be really honest with myself about what it is that truly makes me happy. And when I came out, it was the first time in my life where I actually felt whole.
Right. So
I was denying my wholeness.
And while you were denying that wholeness, before you came out, did you feel like you were pretending or that something wasn't right? I mean, the love addiction that you talk about, did you see it then before you came out, or that kind of...
Oh, I had no idea. I had no language.
Right.
That's the problem. No one was talking about it. Codependency is like just rampant.
Like,
no,
because people don't define it. I didn't know what codependency meant in a long time.
I mean, these are my interpretations of codependency, but honestly, like Pia Melody, our experts, I'm totally, and even, you know, Dr. Lauren
Right.
Costine wrote a book
Right.
on
Yeah, I
lesbian
bought
love,
that.
lesbian
Right,
love
right,
addiction,
right.
lesbian love addiction. So she definitely has spent years looking at that. So the Boundary Boss takes these types of conditions and really unpacks them with the clients, because it shows up in everything that we do. It's not just my love relationship, my intimate relationships, it's the relationships with my mother, my father, my siblings, my work, the list goes, it's endless.
Right.
Eating, technology. Are folks addicted to technology? Are they not setting boundaries with themselves around how much time they're allowing to be consumed by media and content and social media? Finances. Are people setting boundaries with themselves around their money?
Right.
There's people who struggle with boundaries, and that's essentially what I do. I empower people who struggle with personal boundaries. Those who struggle with money, let's just say, and struggle with boundaries and codependency, they tend to be people who are willing to just always give their money away to people to help, which is great and generous. But if it's to the detriment of themselves,
right,
then it's a problem. So where do we draw the line? Can people actually, when your mom goes, I need help, I need money, and you know that she's had a pattern of you giving her money and then her needing more, you're creating
a loop.
You're creating a pattern, but you're also enabling her, and she's not changing. So, and that's really hard. That's really hard to be like, Mom,
I gotta cut you off.
I can't do this. I can't do this. And that's just money.
Right.
So you can see it playing out in all aspects of life. And I found myself coaching people inadvertently, just through my own experience, because I ended up hitting rock bottom in my own life. And then I ended up going to 12 steps, and I ended up realizing all the content out there that directly dealt with all the things I was dealing with, but there wasn't really anyone around me talking about it.
So now that you are now life coaching and working with the city, what's the next step for you? Where do you go from
That's
here?
a great question. It's so funny that you happen to ask me that question. I just had actually a really amazing conversation with Dr. Lauren today, because I do a podcast with her as well.
Right.
And she and I ended up getting on the conversation, the topic of like, do I want to go back to school and pursue an MFT, or do I want to go into like neural linguistics, kind of neuropathic type of
helping to rewire brains.
Exactly,
Right.
which I'm so into, which is a lot of the tools I use in my work already. So I'm already a lot of my work leans into somatic practices, which I'm loving the book, My Grandmother's Hands by Resmaa McKenna. So I'm really already pulling from all these different modalities and practices to create a more holistic approach and experience for my clients. I try not to make it so cerebral. Like, I really want the work to be more embodied. So yeah, it's to be determined, Chris. I'm not really sure what the end game is. Of course, Councilwoman Shyne and others have been, really pushing me to go the political route. But as of today, I don't foresee that happening anytime soon. But you never know. Maybe that's chapter 3.
That's right.
Or chapter 4. Who knows?
That's right. Now, talk to us about the public safety.
Sure.
Your work as a public safety commissioner, what does that entail? What does it mean for the city and the residents of West Hollywood?
Yeah, so the Public Safety Commission's purview oversees our relationship with the Sheriff's Department, Los Angeles Sheriff's Department, numero uno, Fire Department. We also oversee, we're so fortunate to create a new system called Block by Block. It is a service that's was originally established to be a concierge service. So when there's tourism and people don't know where to go and feel a little lost, they're kind of their guides. They can anybody can go up to these men who or women or folks, trans, whatever, these
Right.
members that are in like blue and black, and ask them questions. And they're like mobile hospitality. We've been able to leverage.
Look at that, West Hollywood mobile hospitality, concierge. It pays to live in West Hollywood if you
It
can afford
really,
it.
it's yes, you're right. But the upside to that is that we are really, we've been really utilizing this service to become more of a bridge between the work we do with the Sheriff's Department and in terms of homeless outreach.
Okay.
So they had become so crucial in helping us navigate and connect services to unhoused folks in the city.
Right, so you're helping them with housing resources, like
Yeah.
moving them off of the streets into
Yeah.
housing.
Bottom line is
Instead
that
of
we
jail.
just don't want our unhoused folks to be approached by police or by sheriffs, period.
Right.
At least that's my intention.
Okay.
I can't speak on behalf of the commission, but as a commissioner, I'm very much, I was drawn to being a commissioner on public safety for this reason,
Okay.
because I am passionate about our unhoused community, especially if they are LGBTQ, especially if they're women or women of color, you know, especially they are so vulnerable. And it's important that we have boots on the ground that are able to show up when we call,
Right.
but show up in a non-threatening manner,
Mhm.
where we know that there's no weapons involved, and have more of a conversation. And they are trained to just have a conversation and connect them to services in whatever capacity. So I'm just really excited about leaning into that area or that service and developing more of a larger system with that.
Mhm. Has the city of West Hollywood defunded the sheriff's department at all? Have they like moved some of the budgeting from?
The budget has been under conversation for some time, for all the obvious reasons.
Right.
It is under extreme evaluation, and I can't speak on behalf of the council members, but let's just say that everything is being looked at closer than ever, because we have council members who are actually interested in knowing the numbers, actually tracking and seeing how we can, because right now we have the MET team. Have you heard of the MET team? It's a mental evaluation team.
So I've heard of that, but are they working with the sheriff's department or for
Yeah.
the sheriff's department, or they're working for the city?
It's a county service
County service.
that's made up of a licensed social worker and a sheriff.
And that's in just the city of West Hollywood or all over county?
Well,
of
LA County has multiple teams that are spread out all over the county. We get to share one of those, or we did. I think they had to pull it back to place them elsewhere.
Mhm.
So we've had our own. We've been paying for our own dedicated team for the city. So that has been a huge improvement. They've shown in numbers and reports how de-escalation has occurred. There, the sheriffs for these teams have been trained, etc. But going back to defunding the police, I think there's a really great opportunity to reallocate resources to block by block, and to reallocate resources to teams that we already are invested in, such as Step Up and Second and other nonprofits that have mobile teams that are coming out and connecting our unhoused community members to resources. And I just really think that's the direction we need to continue to look at, and that's part of the reason why I wanted to be on the commission, to continue to push that conversation forward.
Absolutely, that's a beautiful thing. Is there, how are folks to get in touch with you if they're interested in learning about, trying to rein in, extending themselves or overextending themselves, learning how to set boundaries? Where should folks find you?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram, The Boundary Boss, and I have a website, theboundaryboss.com. Either works. Feel free to email me, info@theboundaryboss.com. And yeah, I would love to hear from you if you have any tips. once I have a little bit more capacity, I look forward to putting together a virtual workshop. But right now I'm actually finishing up with a client who hired me to actually offer them diversity, inclusion, restorative justice type of work for a organization that is predominantly white cisgendered men.
That's amazing.
So I'm wrapping that up right now. I had to I put together a huge proposal back in September, and a friend of mine who is a white man pushed for 6 months to get it approved because he was like, we need you.
Right.
So I am grateful for that work, and that's, I love boundaries, but I also love social justice work, and my heart will always be tied to social justice work in whatever capacity I can be, right? Because the work is never done.
Right, it's never
always
done. And we have a long way to go before we, we're in the midst of trying to rebuild an anti-racist America, and that's going to take some decades to do. So.
Oh yeah.
But it all starts with you, people. Okay, anti-racism starts with you.
Yeah, I mean, racism has been put into place. This construct has been put into place in existence for centuries.
Right.
We're trying to undo centuries of conditioning. Right. So yeah, the work never ends.
We're on the path, though.
We're on the path. There's progress, slow progress.
Right. People of the global majority. That's what we are. We're no longer people of color. People of the global majority.
Awesome.
Right?
Sounds great.
Black, brown, Asian, indigenous, my people.
I keep hearing Paula Abdul 2 steps forward, 2 steps back. Or
we got to keep
back.
pushing.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
all. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
So listen, you guys check the LProject out on Instagram and Facebook at LProject LA, and we are also on the web at thelproject.org. You guys tune in next time for another edition of Tribal Soul Sessions. This is DJ Tribal with Alana Roshay, the Boundary Boss. I'll see you next time. Peace.